Hotepish with your host, DwannBrown. Intelligent-ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
What up, y'all? We are here live. Thank you for joining this shit here. I appreciate y'all. For real. We are here live on Hotepish. Intelligent-ish talk. Intelligent shit talk. Let me know if y'all can hear me. I got a different mic, so I don't know. I don't have my headphones in because I hate them corny ass headphones on my head when I'm talking. Can y'all hear me? This nigga named Comment Nigga. What up, dog? Hey, what's up, Tasha? Eric Keys. The Knox Box. AC. What up? Mickey Knox. Eric Shipley. I always assume anybody with the last name Shipley, you wear like a suit. And one of them, like, people with the last name Shipley wear those, what do you call them things Roland Martin be having under his neck? A ascot. Shipley is that's a dignified last name. If my last name was Shipley, I wear an ascot under my t-shirt. My name is Shipley. And dignified brother. What's up, boxing first vlog? What's up, Jaren? All right, cool. Y'all can hear me? Good. Got a new mic because I'm an audiophile. I like when it comes to sounds, man, my sounds got to be right for me. I don't like when sound crackles. Ain't nothing I hate. Don't y'all hate when y'all listen to a podcast and people be eating and chewing into the mic. I can't stand that shit, man. I got too much respect for my audience to eat while I'm talking to y'all. And I'm a fat motherfucker, so you know I like to eat. Eating is a fun thing for me. But to eat while I'm broadcasting and trying to talk to y'all, man, I ain't trying to have a battle between my sandwich and my words going on at the same time. These cats be broadcasting with a civil war going on in their mouth. Trying to say a 3-syllable word or picking peanuts out your teeth. Yeah, Tribe, yeah. Charlie was doing that shit. And I'm glad Brandon got in his ass. Well, they say pause, but yeah, no, Brandon called Charlie out for that on Craig Facts the other day, and I was glad Brandon did. Because before the show, we was on him like, man, don't be chewing in the mic. You got cats making a real point, trying to help folks out, and while one person making a point, you're the fuck, man. Trying to get off a good joke, but in the middle of the punchline, you hear somebody going, man, no, nigga. Got all day before and all day after to eat. But when you on that mic, got to respect the ears of those listening. Gotta respect the ears of the people listening. Some people, think about it. Some people listen to these shows on a bus stop or on a train with earbuds in their ear. Do you want to hear somebody going a smack 'em, a smiggity, smack 'em while you got earbuds in your ear? No. Hell, I just finished smoking 2 joints, so I'm gonna be coughing. But guess what? When I cough, I hit mute on this mic when I cough. Sometimes I miss it, but most of the time I get it. Gotta mute the mic when you cough. Driving down the street, listening to the podcast, and then all you hear is nigga, is it a bear in my back seat? What the fuck? No, that's just DeJuan's big ass coughing. What's up, Evan? Nigga, Jaron said Charlie was eating Proverbs peanuts. Well, I wasn't there on Tuesday's show, so I listened to Tuesday's show of Craig Facts. And it was a few times Cass was talking. I'm like, who the fuck is that chewing? Oh, Charlie must have brought some gummy bears. I love that motherfucker Charlie. It was that when them niggas was arguing, that shit was hilarious. Cause Charlie gonna stand his ground, man. Charlie's a good ass dude. I swear to God, like Charlie's a good dude. So it was fun clowning Charlie for that. That shit was fun. Cause I never miss a reason to clown Charlie. Why not? Charlie looks like a set of camel nuts. Why not talk about him? But I love Craig Facts. Y'all need to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday. Round table of black men talking that real shit. You know what I mean? What they say we ain't talking about, we talk about on that show. Getting down to the real, as my grandmother said, getting down to the real nitty gritty on Craig Facts. So y'all need to tune in to that show. Yeah, Evan, it was hilarious when they were arguing. But yeah, we gonna get in talk about today's topic. Thank y'all for joining me. It's been a week since I've broadcast, and I don't like going that long without broadcasting, but this past week is busy. Me and the wife were up in Tucson earlier this week getting gems and minerals. Because y'all know we also got another company, Brown House Minerals, where we sell those crystals and minerals and gems. But the coronavirus threw us off. You know what I mean? We had everything set up. We started things up in 2019, did a few shows, sold some good product, and we was ramping up because most of that business happens, during the summertime. We do events and stuff like that, but then the coronavirus hit. So we had to put the jewel and crystal and mineral company down for a little bit, because of the economy and everything. But things are picking back up. So my wife will be getting back on the crystals and jewels and minerals, and so we'll be talking about that when that site is up and when we up in business live. But we were in Tucson this past week getting more stuff. If you look at my Instagram, getting all that good stuff. Lorenzo Wright, these asked, did I excavate the minerals from the field? Hell no, I didn't do that. I was in Crocs. I don't know. In Tucson, it's the biggest gem show in the world. Every year, usually it happens in February, but this year it was in April because it got pushed back because of coronavirus, where you have people who do mine and go in those caves and they sell it to their wholesalers, and they come to people like me with the business license that can buy wholesale. And you have miners from Madagascar, from Brazil, from Uruguay, from South Africa, from all over the world coming to Tucson, Arizona to showcase their minerals and sell them at a really good price. Because what is the key to business? The key to business is buy low, sell high. And for everybody out there, if you have something that you are really good at or really interested in and know a little bit about it, and you can find a way to buy low, buy that product low and sell it high, you will always be in business. Black people need to stay in that mindset instead of always looking for the next job. And I'm not dissing people who are looking for jobs, to be very clear. I'm not dissing you. But this ties into what we're going into. When we teach and when we understand buy low, sell high, you'll always have a way to make money. You'll always make the rent, get the car note paid. And on the basic level, on the minimum level, if you get really good at it, now you're putting yourself in position to own not only a house or two, to own neighborhoods and all across your city or wherever you desire, because you've made that amount of money. So whenever you see opportunities to buy low, sell high, be interested in investing in that, because when you understand that principle, you will have financial freedom and you can keep your job and do your buy low, sell high on the weekends. Our kids run to drugs because that's the only product that they see that they can buy low and sell high. If we introduce to kids and teach them these other things that are out there that they can legally buy low and sell high, they will always be independent. And you won't hear all these stories about the black unemployment rate, black suffering, because we will be our solution to our own problems by understanding that principle. So yes, me and the wife, we are definitely into jewels and minerals and crystals. My wife is she's a genius practitioner. She'll point you to a certain crystal, like you hear some things going on in your life and she'll see you stressing and she'll be like, all right, get a black tourmaline or something grounding, and then get you a piece of blue kyanite, breathe in 7 seconds in, 7 seconds out, relax yourself and put this crystal on your forehead, and that should be working. I remember I was a skeptic like a motherfucker back in the day. Hell, as recently as like 4 years ago. She had been into this shit for a minute. But she saw, and again, I'm talking right now, but all this ties into this story where we're talking about black children being targeted by the school system. I'm telling you a little bit of my story because I am somebody who went through the LA Unified School System and still, to this day, work with schools in Southern California on behalf of black children. So all this ties in. Back when I was in working at this company named Hathaway Sycamores back in the day, I got real stressed, and I was maybe 2 seconds away from a nervous breakdown. We're talking 2014, 2015, sometime around there. I had been working with these students, with these kids, singing, and y'all have heard a little bit of this story. I talked about it with Brother Kaba, seeing all these black kids that are super smart, but they always end up in special ed. And no matter what I did at that job to help my people, help my kids, there always seemed to be systematic barriers in the way of them truly, truly getting the things that they deserve. So I got really stressed, really bad, really stressed. And I had to start going to therapy because I didn't understand what was happening. I saw Hidden Colors, and that made things start making sense. Like y'all saw in the interview with Brother Kaba. I'm so glad I got to tell him that, man to man, that his information helped save my mental sanity. Because I'm not someone who just talks. I've always been the one who does the work. And for me, the work comes from the heart. It's not the money. 2009, when I got the job working with the children, I was offered 2 jobs. Before that, I was working in mortgage. I did mortgage banking, made a cool amount of money. It was enough to buy a house, at least for a little bit. Paid my way through college, all doing banking and mortgage. I would do side stuff. I would work on Saturdays. I would volunteer at King Jude Medical Center working with tutoring kids, but I was into the money. Well, the mortgage market crashed in 2008. 2009 comes. I went over a year without a paycheck. And so I was broke, but 2 jobs came to me at the same time. One was the probation department. LA County Parole. That job would have started me at $72,000 a year. Mind you, I hadn't had a paycheck for mortgage in about a year because all my loans closed. Y'all know the mortgage. Look up the mortgage bust of 2008, 2007, and I lived that shit. Thank God I had some investments and some good family to help me get through it, but I digress. I had a choice to either work the probation department at $72,000 a year or take this job at Hathaway Sycamores for $36,000 a year. And mind you, this is in the city of LA. 72 versus 36. Guess what job I took? I took the 36. Because it wasn't about the money. I couldn't see myself, no matter how much money I made, locking up more of our kids. Fuck the name of law. I couldn't see myself doing it. And at least with this job at Hathaway Sycamores, I could work with the kids, and they have a flexible schedule. I could tell my jokes as a comedian, because I always knew whatever job I took, music, stand-up comedy, other shit, that was my real thing. I just needed a job to pay some bills while I really did what I did. So even though it was $36,000, I got the freedom to still do other things. So I took that job helping the kids. And in helping the kids, I kept running into all these blocks and barriers, which we're going to get into as I go through this study. The study is just going to point out things that I saw day to day that led to my almost nervous breakdown in 2015. When that happened, I took about a month off from work. I had like 2 months of time because I hadn't taken a day off work at this point in about 5 years. So I had like 2 months of vacation time. So I used like 5 weeks. And in that 5 weeks, I found a therapist. My wife was already into crystals. So we went to Sedona and we went to Tucson so she can get some crystals. I'm like, fuck this shit, whatever. But then we went to Sedona, Arizona, and I got to chill out and really got to see what was going on. And I allowed my wife to, like, fuck it, I see what these crystals are about. Shit, I'm fucked up anyway. Hell, that church shit I've been in my whole life, ain't none of that shit coming through right now to help me out. All them damn years ago in the church, that's cool, but that shit ain't helping me right now. And I'm not dissing the church because the church does help on some levels, but on other levels, it tells you, they push you away from things like therapy, and they push you away from things like minerals from the earth that can actually help your well-being. And the earth provides these things for us as tools. The same way you have a rock that can be used for breaking, you have diamonds, you have all these different minerals and materials within the earth that have different energies and properties within them. I did not know this at the time. My wife did. So she gave me a piece of blue kyanite. And I'm like, man, whatever. This is like that shit on Superman. This is like Superman's cave. What the fuck is this? She was like, take it anyway. But she said it nicer than that. Because if she said it meaning there, I'd be like, man, fuck that. But she said it real nice. Take it anyway. Just put it in your pocket. All right, whatever. Put it in my pocket. I noticed I started, feeling kind of a little better. Matter of fact, by now, I forget the little damn things in my pocket. And I started working with it, and I was like, okay, it seems like every time I hold this thing, I calm down a little bit. So maybe it's something to it. Then I started trying other stuff, and then seeing it, I was like, oh, there's actually something to these things. And the people that are telling me this is a pseudoscience is not real, it's just spookism, or it's all in your mind. Y'all the same ones that want to sell me drugs that never heal me, but make me gotta keep coming back for more every 30 days on the refill. So understanding the medical industry, they have a place. The medical industry does a lot of good things. I'm not here to totally shit on the medical industry, but I am here to say that, just in my observation, they don't really heal nothing. They just kind of get you coming back for more. So if they're the ones saying things like crystals, meditation, and working on your mental health don't work, maybe I need to look more into that, because these are the motherfuckers that's always fucking us up anyway, right? Read the book Medical Apartheid if you think I'm bullshitting. Harriet Washington, get the book. I started using crystals and I was like, hold on. It's something about these things. So I encourage people listening, if you want to know more, do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't trust what I say. I do speak in the interest of someone who runs a mineral and crystal business. Full disclosure, I put that all out there. So you can be critical all you want. I just say try it. Do research on it. And find out for yourself. And if you think after that I'm full of shit, then whatever, cool, I don't care. Because I'm here to speak to those who are willing and who are open-minded. And if it doesn't work for you, everything don't work for everybody. If it don't work for you, then it don't work for you. That's fine too. Everything don't work for everybody. We can live in a world where people can share information of things that have worked and do work. And those who don't really buy into it and get it have respect for the differences between the way you get down and other people get down. But for those who do want to know more, coming sometime in the summer, I know my wife will be starting the channel to really talk about and discuss how to use these things and their benefits. You're right. Aquatic crystals have a state of intelligence that we don't understand. Just like the wind has an intelligence we don't understand. The wind always goes where it needs to be. The wind finds a way to clean out the smog. Do you know you cannot grow trees without wind? They found that in the Arizona biodome. They tried to grow trees, but the wind has an intelligence that we don't understand. So does the water. And a lot of things that we see and have around us every day that we take for granted, that we don't understand. Trees have a communication mechanism with amongst other trees that we don't understand. As humans, we do not understand a lot of shit. And when you truly understand that you don't understand, you then can open up your mind for greater understanding. Let me say that one more time. When you understand that you don't understand, you open your mind for greater understanding. I approach things I don't know like a 5-year-old child, because we're all 5 in different areas of our life. In some areas, we're fucking PhD 3 times over. In other areas, we're just 5 years old. In most areas, we're just 5 years old. And when you approach new things and new ways of being and new ideologies and new things around you with the mindset of a 5-year-old, there are things you can get out of it. But when you approach these things as something that you already know and understand, then you're right. It's not going to be anything in it for you. If you already know, you already think you know everything, you think you see what it is, and your point of view is the only way it can be seen, then there's nothing in it for you to learn. So just keep pushing. But let's get in this report right here. There was an article, and for those of you who want to read this article, it's 2 articles I'm posting. I'm posting the LA Times article, and I post the actual study from UCLA. The link to both are in the description box. So if you think I'm bullshitting, go to the description box and you will see the link to everything I'm talking about. Y'all ready to get it in? Like to hear it, here it go. Donate to the Cash App, please. DwannBrown. Also know this. My webinar is coming up. No Time to Waste, a self-motivation guidebook. This book that I wrote is going to help. I have tools in this book that I wrote that I've been actually implementing and working with families and children for the last 13 years on how, if you don't know your gifts, how to find your gifts. And then once you find your gifts, how to get off your ass and do something about it. Because people always talk about, oh man, my haters motivate me. Well, what if your hater one day goes on a good mushroom trip and forgives you? Now that person's no longer a hater. They support you. Where's your motivation? Oh man, I'm voted man because people don't believe in me, man. People be doubting me, man. That's my motivation. Well, what if your daughter? What if all your daughters like take the needle and like die tomorrow? Did your motivation die with it? You got to be self-motivated. Your motivation got to come from within. It got to be within the passions that you have that are already inside of you. Most people, we all have it, but a lot of people don't know how to find it. I know how to find it. I've been helping motherfuckers with this shit for a long time. So I put it in a book. The book will be coming out. First people to get the book will be those who enroll in my webinar. I have very limited seating, and almost half the seats are sold out now. It's in 2 weeks, May 2nd, Sunday, May 2nd. I'm going to have a webinar, and anyone who gets my webinar also gets a free copy of the book. You'll be first to get the book, and the book will go on sale the day after the webinar. No Time to Waste, a self-motivation guidebook. The Eventbrite link is in the description box. Buy your ticket now, goddammit. Value is what I bring. Not just words, solutions. You dig? All right. Let's go to this browser share. Boom. Here we go. Black students in 14 LA County school districts face serious equity barriers, study finds. Beaumont, it will be an ebook, not a hard copy. It will be an ebook. Thank you for that. That's a good question. And enroll in the course, because in this course, I'm really going to break down the book. And I think you'll get more out of it if you enroll in the course, my webinar. But if you can't make the webinar live, I will be putting it back up after. But it's better to get it live because you'll be able to ask me questions directly. If you can't make it to the live, we still will have the webinar that you can go to, and it'll be up on my website, breakthroughas.org. And my website, breakthroughas.org, will be going live hopefully Monday, Tuesday at the latest. Black students in 14 LA County school districts face serious equity barriers, study finds. Black students in Los Angeles County continue to face a multitude of barriers to an equitable education, including concentrated poverty, high suspension rates, housing insecurity, study finds. Let's start off by that part right here. That's part of it. The high suspension rates, yeah. Poverty definitely has a place to do with it. But black students were facing these issues long before housing insecurity became a big thing. As people know, half of LA's homeless population is black. Although black people make up like 6% of LA. Half the homeless population is black. Black people are being gentrified out of every neighborhood that we own and possess. And when I say own, I do mean own, because people like talk shit about what's black people not doing. Like I've seen, and with all due respect, no disrespect to my brother Jason Black. I love his broadcast, but he's highly misinformed on Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a very unique city, and you're not going to understand it from an outsider's point of view. You're not going to understand Los Angeles if you go and stay downtown. Nobody from LA fucks with downtown. Nothing happens in downtown. Compton got gentrified, and a lot of that old 90s hip hop that you hear about, a lot of those neighborhoods that they talked about, most of those people moved out of those neighborhoods and into Moreno Valley and Palmdale back in the 90s, back in the 2000s. So some of those outer lying areas that people think are black neighborhoods, and they see these Asians and stuff running stuff, those stopped being black neighborhoods 20 years ago. So no, you're off. The last really stronghold of black neighborhood was really the Crenshaw district. And in the Crenshaw district, when you go up and down Crenshaw Boulevard, no, those were black people who owned those hair salons, barbershops, hair shops, black owned. There's black, when you go down Crenshaw through the corridor where they're having that railway get built, those are black people who actually own the buildings. The shopping centers, a good majority of those shopping centers are actually black owned. The Dare Heights, View Park, Baldwin Hills, Windsor Hills, where I lived in high school and on, black people with houses with views in the city who own the shops in surrounding areas. Nipsey was not the only black business owner in the Crenshaw district. Crenshaw district was highly concentrated with black ownership. This subway system that they built going down Crenshaw has really crippled that. Let's put a big harm to that. I'm not saying we own the whole neighborhood. No, we don't. But we own a good portion of it. Marta Gibbs owned the Vision Theater. Y'all, if y'all ever saw that movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, with the Chocolate City, that was the Vision Theater. At the time that movie was filmed, that was owned by Marta Gibbs from 227 and the Jeffersons. So, but those areas, when we owned those areas, Audubon Middle School still wasn't shit. 43rd Elementary, Dublin Elementary. The school systems in the area, I went to Coliseum Elementary. schools wasn't shit. So they're trying to make it seem as if this is something new because of the housing insecurity. No. Back when we owned the hood and populated 90% of that hood in the Mer Park, the schools still weren't shit. This study is focusing on schools that serve at least 800 students. That's important because there's other schools where type of schools where it may be like peppered with black kids, but it really ain't too many in it. And when you find those schools, you often find black people do very well in those type of schools because there's so few schools. Because there's so few black students, the black students actually get an on-par education with the other students. But when they find these schools where there's a high concentration of black students, they find ways to fuck them over. It's talking about here that, let me see here. It's talking about like the lack of teachers' aides. It's talking about the money. One thing that stood out here is black students enrollment, and I have seen this happen right in front of my face. Black student enrollment has declined like 42% in LA schools over the last 2 decades. Cats moving up to Lancaster and Palmdale, like I said, that goes to support what I was saying earlier about if someone wants to come to Compton or come to certain parts of South Central and they think, and if you're around the area where Tam's Burgers is, that's a predominantly Mexican neighborhood now. Tam's used to be a spot where black people ate, but there's a Tam's because there are no Tam's Burgers west of Western. But when you get to Western and go east towards the 17, it's a whole fuck ton of them. So if you hear someone talking about LA and the black area, they're talking about they're hanging out at Tam's Burgers, they're hanging out in a neighborhood that's probably 90% Mexican. Ain't no Tam's on Crenshaw, nigga. We got Arts, Woodies. Ain't no goddamn Tam's in the Crenshaw district. They in the hood, but they're not in the Crenshaw district. Like I said, the LA's last stronghold. But even there, we seeing black student enrollment decline. And in this article, they're going in and talking about, they're giving, this is a very vanilla breakdown in this article on the LA Times. That's why I also linked the actual study from UCLA. And this is directly from UCLA's website. And they go in talking about it. There are a few things in here that I want to highlight. In this study. Let me see. I don't know. Not the housing burden. I don't want to go there. Here it is. School policing and climate. This is something that I want to go in on. When you're looking at this highlight, it says black student enrollment is just 8% in the Los Angeles Unified School District, but black students account for 25% of the serious interactions with police. A lot of these schools are little detention centers. Let me give you an example. Hillcrest Elementary School in Inglewood, my former elementary school, Coliseum, calling them out. And they could have changed it in the last year. I don't know, but I was at both of those schools within the last 3 years. And in these elementary schools, they have lines. Remember when you were in recess, you had the whole playground and you had like when the recess was over with in elementary school, you had to get in a line and walk in a line. Well, now they make the students line up on the white line. And if the students deviate off the white line, they get yanked out of line and set aside for punishment. What does that remind you of? Kind of sounds like prison, doesn't it? Stand on the white line. My question is this: why do you have lines in the elementary school? Why are you putting these young tender minds in the mindset of boot camp and not education? Because when I go to the schools that are non-black, the white schools, even the Latino schools, they don't have no fucking line on the elementary school sidewalk. And then the minute that black kid, because you know kids are goofy as hell. They've been at recess, they've been at lunch all day, you gave them sugar, they've been playing. You know one of these little bastards is gonna fall off the white line. Now instead of that kid getting education in class, he's been sat in the principal's office or been sat in detention for deviating from the white line. That's the climate of the schools in Southern California. Look at this. Male suspensions. The county rate for male suspensions is 4%. For black males, it's 7%. Almost double. You see that high number in number 2 where it says Antelope Valley School District? Y'all see that? That's now where a lot of this right here, this area, that's where most of the black kids have gone because, like I said, LA's been gentrified. Most of the students have gone up to the Antelope Valley. So with an increase in black students going to the Antelope Valley, look at how their suspension rate has shot up. I had a child in this school. Oh, I forgot the name of that school. But it was an elementary school like off 89th Street and Main Street over on the east side. And the kid would have his behavioral issues. The child had an Asian teacher. She singled him out in front of the class and said, I'm not gonna say the kid's name. HIPAA violation. But I'm gonna give you a fake name. Devontae. His name wasn't Devontae, but it's a whole bunch of black kids named Devontae, so you feel what I'm saying. She said, Devontae, I understand that your father may not be home and you have to deal with problems in the hood, but you have to sit down in my class. And she told that motherfucker that in front of the whole class. I understand you didn't know anything about the boy. The boy's father actually wasn't around because the boy's father was killed and was dead. He had a relationship with his father, and part of the reason I was this client's case manager was because I worked with this kid on grief and loss, the grief around losing his father. So the Asian teacher tells this 8-year-old black boy, I understand your father may be missing and you dealing with problems in the hood. So what did that boy do? He got up and caused hell. And so they come calling me over behavior saying, DeWan, you need to help him. He's acting wild. You're his grief counselor. You're his case manager. You need to come and help him. He's in crisis. We called it crisis. He's in crisis. They're ready to call the PET team. The PET team is the emergency response team that the county had for children and people who are having psychotic outbreaks. They're getting ready to call the PET team on this child, saying something's wrong with this child, not addressing the fact that this teacher just brought up his dead father. This is the shit our boys got to deal with. Let me give you a little more insight into this. Let me give you some more context into this study. And as we go into it, like again, I encourage you to read this. This is a long ass study. I'm not going to read 98% of it. I'm just going to highlight some things. I have the links to these studies in the description bar for you to look for themselves. Most of what I'm going to be talking about is using this study as a canvas for what I've personally experienced in these same exact schools they're talking about. These kids, these schools in LA County, where these black kids are facing this criminalization, the majority of the school police are Latino. The majority of the school staff at these schools are Latino. I'm talking about from principal to administrators to teachers to police officers. Latino and a lot of Asian. There aren't as many white people in the inner city schools. They are white teachers, but they're the minority. The white teachers have pawned that job off to the Latinos. So when we're talking about these disparities, when we're talking about these issues, 7 out of 10 times, the person doling out this punishment on these black children in LA, in Southern California, they're Latino. Usually when it comes to black staffers, they'll concentrate all the whole county's black staff into 2 or 3 schools in the district. And it seems like every year a black person leaves that school, they're replaced by a Latino. So we're not even dealing with white and black here. We're dealing with America's buffer class. This isn't to disrespect Latinos. This is to tell the Latinos listening, y'all need to get y'all shit together. That's what this is about. This isn't me downing Latinos. This isn't me saying we all need to hate Latinos and Latinos are evil. This is me saying Latinos, get your shit together. Because while you're doing the white supremacist dirty work, they got something lined up for your motherfucking ass next. Like they always do. So this is for those listening who may be of Latin descent and Asian descent, because there's a fuck ton of Asians in them schools too. This may be a wake-up call to you to get your shit together. Because yes, the system gives you slight advantages and things like that. But then when they're done with that, as these white numbers get smaller and smaller, they're gonna fuck with you too, like they did fuck with you. You forget these are the people that fucked up your home country. That's why you had to come here. You wouldn't need to leave the beautiful beaches of Cozumel if the United States wasn't, and if these Europeans weren't undermining your economy. While y'all fucking around with us. And for the black people, we got cool Latino and Asian friends and friends of other races. But all that black and brown shit need to stop. Because it's the brown ones perpetuating a lot of this bullshit on our kids. Look at what's going on. This is what our children are dealing with in this school. You know what they do? And here they're talking about let me see. Special populations, foster care. And look at the suspension rate. Total county suspension rate. But look where it is in these areas where black people are. One thing that they do here in LA and then this is something nationwide. This is for me. I can break it down to you from the LA perspective, but this is happening all across the nation. I realized it when I saw Hidden Colors. What they do is they target black children, specifically black boys, for special education. When they see your young boy, first grade, second grade, kindergarten, asking a lot of questions, chin up, has a little bit of pride about himself, these teachers target those boys. They criminalize those boys. And then when those boys react, because children know when they're not being treated fairly. Children just don't have the developed mental capacity to handle that the way an adult is, because hell, their brain isn't developed. A 7-year-old, the frontal cortex, the reasoning centers of the brain don't come fully online until at least 23, and some people 28, 30. So a 7-year-old child feels something isn't right. They don't quite have the words to express what they feel. So what do? They yell, they hit, they say things, very mean things. You know, the 7-year-old boy is mean as hell. Ain't got no filter. And this is just true amongst children. But when a black boy does it, he's unruly. Maybe we need to test him for an IEP, for behavior. Mind you, the whole IEP system was created for special needs children, children with autism, children with severe dyslexia, Down syndrome, true learning disabilities, things that get in the way of you learning. That's what special education was made for, in theory. What ended up happening is the black people, you're supposed to have to test into special education, meaning they give you these assessment tests, these mental assessment tests. Where do you test? They test how sharp you are mathematically, your ability to pick up reading comprehension, your auditory comprehension, motor skills, all these things. And if you test below the numbers, you qualify for special education. Well, you may be asking me, Dwan, if these kids are so smart, how do they get into to special education if they test into it? Here is the exception. It's something called OHI. What is OHI? OHI is other health impairments. What is other health impairments? Whatever these crackers say that's going to get your ass shipped off into one of these special education programs. That's other health impairments. Other health impairments. So how they work it in the LA Unified School District is your child is mad, is angry. He's causing a ruckus in class. And we live I'm gonna tell you something about the LA Unified School District too. And LA, Southern California schools in general. They're fucking circuses. Most of those little crumb snatchers are running around, walking around, doing a bunch of bullshit. The environments are crazy. Most of the teachers suck. But when Devontae gets out of class, he's been unruly. He's been sent to the principal's office. He's been prosecuted and persecuted. So they call an IEP. And they say, hey, yeah, Devontae's score may be a little slow, maybe a little low in math, but not low enough to get special education. But he won't sit down in class. Or, like what happened with another kid of mine, he was in the 5th grade, but he was small for a 5th grader. No, he was in the 6th grade. He was in middle school, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. This kid was a very small 6th grader. He looked like a 5th or 4th grader. So he kept getting picked on by a 7th grader. And so my little 6th grader beat that 7th grader's ass. And because of that one fight, they called an IEP meeting. His grades were good, but they said, hey, he suffers from other health impairments. And they use that to say, I think this child belongs in a non-public school. What's a non-public school? It's a school that's created for people with true mental health deficiencies. Problem is, through the IEP process here in Los Angeles County, a lot of your children with autism, with Down syndrome, with severe dyslexia, they oftentimes can't get into these non-public schools because these non-public schools are full of perfectly fine black children who got in a fight. Perfectly fine black children who just wouldn't sit down in a teacher's class who wasn't shit anyway. You're right, Tasha. They always diagnose them with ADHD. And what legally your child is supposed to be in the least restrictive environment. The least restrictive environment is regular class. But they find ways to say, hey, his behavior is too bad for this. So the least restrictive environment is going to be a non-public school or special education. So now that your child is in special education, the kid to the left of him is licking the window with a helmet on. The kid to the right of him is moderately autistic. He's looking and saying, okay, what the fuck did I do to belong in this class? I know I'm not, no disrespect to these kids, but I ain't got a helmet on, and I understand what they're saying. This shit just boring. What happens in the mindset of that child? That child then goes to feeling like, well, maybe I am stupid. Well, maybe something is wrong with me. Well, maybe I'm not smart. What happens when a child identifies as stupid, not smart, and unworthy? They then begin to act stupid, smart, and unworthy. Children are human. They act as they view themselves. And you have a school district that targets these kids for lower vibration, negative environments and environments that slow them down. So when they get placed in those environments, they then take on the identity of the environment. And the environment becomes a cesspool of degenerate behavior because now you have beautiful, smart, intelligent, resourceful, creative, young geniuses sitting and learning in a sewer. I don't give a fuck how clean your tuxedo is. If you fall into a pile of shit, the tuxedo's gonna smell like and look like shit. And we're dealing with a school district that starting with these lines on the schoolyard, don't deviate from the line, to a classroom where a teacher is soloing you out, to school books that are outdated and maybe not even there. I went to Westchester High School. Westchester High School is a very famous high school around the country because for the last 20 plus years, Westchester has pumped out a goobly glob, inordinary amount of NBA basketball talent. Trevor Ariza, Amir Johnson, Hassan Adams. I can go on and on with the NBA players that have come out of Westchester High School. The year is 1998. 1997, I'm sorry. I'm in the 10th grade. Westchester wins the state championship that year. On the year we win the state championship, ask me if we had enough money for history books. My class didn't have any history books. So one of the parents to one of the students literally got one of the books and photocopied. This is back in the mode photocopies. Photocopied 30 copies of our history book. Had that parent not photocopied 30 copies of that history book in Mr. Murchison's class, Westchester 1997, we would not have had history books. That's how the LA Unified, because Westchester at the time was a 90, basically like a 97% black school. And this is what they'll do. This discrimination, this separation, this segregation, they'll do this shit right in front of your face and you won't even see what's going on. My wife and I went to the same school, 7th grade through graduation of high school. My wife and I went to the same middle school, same high school. My wife and I never had the same classes. We were in the same grade, went to the same schools. We never had the same classes until like 11th grade. We had one elective together. But because my wife was in the AP Advanced Placement program. But guess who else was in the AP Advanced Placement program? Literally every Asian in the school, every white person that went to Westchester High School, they were automatically put in advanced placement. And a few black kids got put into that advanced placement. A few. My wife was one of the few. They made a mistake in my schedule and put me by accident in 11th grade advanced placement history class. Mind you, this is the year after in my regular class, we had to get the photocopies of the history book. This next year when I get accidentally placed in advanced placement history, I had the best grade I ever had in history class. I found out the only difference between advanced placement and regular was smaller classroom sizes, more talented teachers, and resources for books. The few white kids and Asians that went to Westchester High School got that. The other 95% of us had to basically fend for ourselves. And Westchester was one of the better cases. It was way worse at Crenshaw, way worse at Dorsey, Fremont, Washington. Them niggas had it really bad. We've had these schools target our children. These school districts target our children. Our children aren't crazy. They're targeted. Another thing I see that's going on in the school district now, like I would see this all the time in this study, they talk about how how LA County needs to, in the conclusion, they talk about how they need to find a path for more black teachers. I remember growing up through the LA Unified School District, it seemed like every time we had a dope black teacher, he'd be at the school a year, maybe two, then be out. They found ways to fuck over the black teachers. I would see that with the kids that I work with. I would get a kid who was failing, then he would get a good black teacher. Because the black teachers are, for the most part, the substitutes. And it's nothing that they'll do with the black schools. In the black schools, That same school that I told you about no, this was a different school. Well, that school too. It's happening. Well, there's literally dozens of schools. In the schools with highly concentrated black students, they have a very small percentage of full-time teachers. Maybe 25, 30% of the teachers full-time. The rest of these people be permanent subs. And you have a fair amount of black subs, but they find ways to not let these black subs become full-time teachers. So your kid will have, in the first 5 weeks of school, sometimes 10 different teachers in the first 5 weeks. This was normal. And then they get a permanent sub about 6 weeks into the semester. That sub be there for about 2 months. Usually that sub was a black dude. Kids connect to this dude. Their grades go from D's to B's, C's to A's, fails to C's. And then with 3 weeks left, 4 weeks left in the semester, they yank that black sub, put him somewhere else. In the last 4 weeks of school, the kid has 6 different teachers. No continuity. This specifically happens in majority black schools. So when y'all read these numbers, it's very easy to just look at, okay, it must be something wrong with the black people. No, other races of children don't have to deal with these barriers. When I go to Santee High School, where it's majority Latino population, mostly all those in that school is still in the hood. It actually more poverty than Audubon Middle School, where the black people are. But that school, 80% of the teaching staff, 90% of the teaching staff is permanent. Versus when I come to the black school, 30 to 40% of the teaching staff is permanent. These are little things that they do to undermine the education of black students here in Southern California. I'll give you another thing that they do. Another thing that they do, uses, it says use, this is what they do. In the black schools, there are literally no more shop classes. None. None. I have a map up here. Okay. What is this thing doing? No, I don't want that. Turn. Man, I might have to go to my LA Unified map. Let me just go to my Google Maps. Y'all know I like going to my Google Maps. Y'all know what the fuck. Let me see. No, I didn't. Maps. Maps. All right, cool. Los Angeles. Oh man, fuck it. Whatever. The site ain't working right. Anyway, I'll go back to this map. Maps in LA, the Latino schools, they get shop classes. Like when I say shop classes, wood shop, auto shop, those classes exist in the hood. Those classes exist in the hood. Just not in where the black kids are. Let me see here. I'm gonna go back. My damn map thing keeps freezing on me. Let me see if I want to get this map in for you. Hold on. Let me go to the right. Let me see. Here we go. I got the motherfucker. It's over here pulling up all kind of dumb random shit. Here we go. I found it. Here's the map. We're dealing with South Central LA. This area right here. We're dealing with the Crenshaw district. Over here, you got Westchester High School down here where I went to. You got the black folks that live in this area right here. None of the schools between the 110 and the 405 south of the 10, north of the 105 in this black area, none of these schools offer really any kind of shop classes, any kind of specialty programs, no kind of art classes, no design classes. See, when you go over here to Mar Vista in the white neighborhoods, you can get music specialties, art specialties, coding. When you come over here where they live. But when you come over here where the Latinos live, over here, this is a highly Latino area right here. You come over here to these schools, they have specialty programs. This here is, where is this? Where's Jordan High? That's up. This Alameda, we over here in Watts right here. That's 83rd. I gotta come up to 103rd. 103rd is where. Here, this is Jordan High School. I'm gonna give you an example. Right here is in Watts. Jordan Downs projects that they've recently started to knock down and turn into these little community homes. But this is Jordan High School. Within this high school, there's absolutely nothing for the kids to specialize in, grow in, develop in. Now, if they get a chance to get into this Inemo Preparatory School, which is on the campus, that's a charter school. I work with them. They got some stuff, but they don't really allow too many black students. That's mostly Latino heavy in that particular specialty program. Regular Jordan is still very black. No specialty classes, no nothing. Cross the train tracks in the South Gate. You see the difference? You see the distance? Here. You come over here to Southeast High School. You got mechanic shop. You got coding programs. You have all kinds of resources. It's a damn near brand new built school. I know about the school because my basketball team, we used to practice at this school. They got tennis courts. They got programs to cultivate the minds of the Latino students. And I'm not shitting on it. The Latino students deserve that. All schools should have these type programs for school, for children. But when you cross the train tracks and you go to Jordan High School, where a lot of your great LA jazz artists came out of, Charles Mingus, Patrice Rushen. No, Patrice Rushen went to Locke. But Jordan High School has a great jazz tradition. They don't even have music classes at Jordan High School. And the LA jazz scene of the 1960s and 70s literally comes out of Jordan High School. They got those classes over here across the train tracks. They tell us to our face how they feel about us. Look at the Jordan High School football field and baseball field. Bunch of bullshit. Look at theirs. They have not only do they have a baseball field, they got a softball field and a dope ass football field and a tennis court. So when they try to talk to you about this black and brown bullshit, hey, for political purposes, black people, we are in this together. We are in this fight alone. Why would they want to join a fight with us when their kids get to go to an environment like this and your black ass kids got to go to an environment like this? I see a comment. Here's a comment. I'm glad this dude said this. I'm gonna use this comment as an example. Someone said we can't keep relying on the pressure to fix our needs. We have to do it ourselves. Good comment. But that's going into clicheism. This isn't about relying, and I'm not saying you saying this. This is how I'm taking it from it. This isn't about relying on them to do anything. This is bringing awareness because this is going on in your city too. You pay taxes. When you pay taxes, that means you're putting money into the pot. You should have a vested interest in getting your needs met by the people that you're putting money in the pot to. This isn't about relying on white people to fix anything. It's about each one. If you have a child in school, going down to those schools and being an active participant and making sure the resources that you're paying for are diverted back to you and the children in your neighborhood. It's not about relying. It's a business transaction. When you go to the store to buy groceries, you're not relying on them to scan the groceries and put them in your cart. No. You walked around and you spent money on them fucking groceries. That's a transaction. I spent money. Now you load the motherfucker. That's not me relying on you to do any goddamn thing for me. That's me completing the transaction. Let's get it straight. Just because a black person is talking about a problem going on, that's nothing we need to get rid of. We're here discussing the issues of the day going on. That's not complaining. That's bringing awareness and strategizing. What I'm doing is it's called media. Every group needs a media apparatus, and I'm just doing my best part to be a part of that. You have a media apparatus to bring you attention to what the problems and things that need to be fixed. Once the media apparatus brings attention to the problems that need to be fixed, our job is to go and fix the damn problem. Not to say, man, we don't need to be relying on. No. Fix the problem. That's what we're here for. You're right, Trevor. A lot of parents just drop the kids off at school and hope for the best. And these are the children that are most victimized by this. This is the reason why black children are so victimized. They prey. They prey on the black child that's dropped off and left alone. The parents that are aware and active within the school district, they try it with their kids, but it don't work. It don't work. Hell, that's the reason why I started my company, Breakthrough Advocacy Services. I started my company, Breakthrough Advocacy Services, because I saw this need. I saw this problem. I learned how to fix the problem. Okay, if you want to put our kids on special ed, all right, cool. Then you about to get them compensatory hours of education to catch them up for the areas that you say that they're lagging in. We're about to get all kind of shit for these kids if you come through me. I play political jujitsu with this motherfucking system. Okay, you want to throw our kids in there for that? All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna flip it and use it for this. Get educated. On the process when it comes to school. After my webinar that I'm have coming up, I'm going to do another one on really supporting families and people who have children in the school district and give y'all some real dope advice and game on what to do, how to support your kids, the process. This is my website, Breakthrough. Hopefully it'll be live next week. Y'all see, it's for the most part done. I just got to spell check this whole and do a few edits, but for the most part it's done. I'm going to do a webinar coming up in probably about a month or two to help people out with, instead of, because I know my rates can be pretty expensive for the individual. And a lot of parents can't afford it. So I want to do some stuff to give information to the people out there who, and if I'm not in your city, I can't too much help you out, but I can give you general information to take back to your local school districts. And if you have children in the school system, to help you identify where there may be problems and also give you solutions on how to solve them. I'm gonna do a webinar on that in a couple months. But I encourage y'all to go through this this article, because it's really talking about. I want to go here to the solutions in the some of the policy recommendations that they have in here, because they tell you exactly what needs to happen. Black children, it says here, cities need to ensure and examine black families are not being unfairly targeted, which basically means they're telling you black children and families are being unfairly targeted. It says LA County needs to support school districts to implement culturally responsive practices by using California's multi-tiered system of support. That'll be a good conclusion, but the problem is when you're dealing with a lot of the stuff when it comes to these supports, whenever things get culturally specific for black people, generally though they water those down for everybody. It becomes offensive, and they don't really get into the nitty gritty of, if they do go culturally sensitive to black people, they'll just basically only talk about Martin Luther King, and only Martin Luther King of 1964, not Martin Luther King of 1967, and Michael Jordan, and that's basically it. So that's where we as a people, we need to teach the kids and give them the cultural relevancy. Get this DVD called Elementary Genocide. It's 3 editions by Raheem Shabazz. Watch those with your children. Your children, they'll be able to see through that documentary a lot of the shit that they're saying at school, and it's confusing them, and they're wondering what's going on. It talks about in here, like, the recommendations, like here at Baldwin Hills Elementary, that's one of the few like highly concentrated black schools. Baldwin Hills was right down the street from elementary, was about a mile from my elementary school, Coliseum. But it's talking about how that's one of the better schools in the district, because partially that school focuses on culture. It's black children, so they have black culture all around. From the pictures, from the people who are on the walls, to the people that they study within the classrooms. The children see themselves in the education. And when the child see themselves in education, they're more likely to do better with education. So if your child is in one of those schools that don't have these type environments, or even if they do, you want to make sure that your children see themselves in education. One thing that I do is, in my years working with children, is I would tell them, look, math, and I would point to them where math comes from. Math is ma'at. Ma'at comes from Africa. That's your shit. Ma'at is math. Math is what they use to build the monuments and the pyramids. That's your creation, and it's on you as a black person to further and be great in this, because it's your art. It's your science. You're the first to do science. Benjamin Banneker was one of the greatest scientists ever. He's a black American. George Washington Carver was one of the greatest scientists ever. I think America's greatest scientists. Your children got to know who these people are, because they'll know that, okay, now they have a responsibility to do something with the education. But if all they know is entertainment, entertainers, and athletes, that's what they're going to focus on. Children see a world to where we as the adults worship and praise the entertainers and the athletes. The entertainers and the athletes make the most money that we see. They really don't make the most money, but they're the ones paraded out there that in front of us because they make more money than we do. You know what I mean? And the kids grow up missing out on the education because subconsciously in their mind, they're thinking the only way that they're going to make it out and do something is if they become the best rapper, best singer, go viral on the internet, or doing some dumb shit, or play sports. You got to teach these black children who they are. That's the way that we can solve some of these problems ourselves, but that has to come from the home. Even if it is coming from school. I don't trust the school system. So even when they do kind of put people up in front of us, are they really the true revolutionaries, the true geniuses our children need to know about? Are they teaching our children about John Lewis or John Henry Clark? It's a big difference. We have to be the change. This is how we can be the change with the children. Your child, if their school is coming to you saying, you know, I think there's a behavioral issue, you know, we need to talk, then know that you have resources. I am available for those who want to talk and chat about things like this. If you once my website is up, actually it's up now on my Instagram. My Instagram has a book me feature. If you have a general short question you want to know about something, 15 minutes or less, you can go to my calendar on Instagram and you can book my time. Only $20 for a short question. It's nothing if you have a question that you really need answered. I'm doing this because I'm busy as hell. For those people that inbox me on Instagram, I got about 70 now. I had like 36 the other day. I got like 70 inbox messages just on Instagram alone, not including Facebook, not including YouTube, of people just want to know questions and want to know more about certain things. And I would like to get there, but I really don't have the time. You see, me and my wife and I, we're getting our mineral business back going. I have my company Breakthrough. I'm a stand-up comedian. You see, I got a lot of productions that I have going on. I really don't have the time. I would love to get back to people, but I do run a legitimate business where I help people out and I do my advocacy and I have clients throughout the day when I'm not online entertaining people or setting up deals behind the scenes in comedy. I'm actually in the school districts to this day doing IEP meetings, mentoring children, doing relationship coaching. I'm a very busy person. But if you want to book my time, you can go to Instagram and hit book now and we can talk. We can chat it up. I got time for that. If you want to go a little more in depth when it comes to if you have a real issue going on with your children in the IEP process, I have my IEP consultation that's up there. Book the time, because the information that you get during that time can save you a lot of time and a lot of headache when it comes to working with the school district. Much respect to the 70 or so Instagram inboxes I got. But look, man, I don't have the time to answer 70 inboxes. That's just this week. Next week, I'll have 70 more. I just don't have the time. So, just letting you guys know that. What y'all talking about here in the chat room? Star says, show up and be present. Damn right, that works. That works. Show up and be present. That goes a long way with the cheering. No, Bill B, do not sell drugs. That's right, Tasha. I do not trust the school system. Do not trust the school system. And further than not trusting the school system is targeting your children. Let's just be real with it. They're targeting your children directly and indirectly. If it's not blunt force targeting, it's indirect targeting. But if they're black and their children, they're being targeted by the school system. You have to be present. Old Head Deuce, we putting together. We're gonna be in Vegas May 22nd. Craig Facts the show. We're gonna be doing a comedy show in Vegas May 22nd. We should be doing one here in LA before that. I don't know the date or the time yet, but when we get the date and time, I'll let you know. We're gonna be on tour this summer. We're gonna be hitting up a lot of different cities. Craig Facts on the comedy tip. You're right, Mark. Parents need to be more of an influence than the school system in entertainment. That's facts. My mom saved me, man, because my mom was always in school, at my school. She would always let them know the first day of school, hey, my son's not a blood or a crip, because the teachers, because I was big and black, they just like, oh yeah, group that big black nigga with the gang kids. My mom was always down there. Y'all ain't pulling that shit on me. And because of that, my mom, even though I got targeted a lot by the school district, she helped me out a lot with taking those arrows for me. Because the school system is out to get your children. They are out to get your children. This report proves it. They are out to get your children. It's not a system failure. It was the system with. Let me say this on two different levels. On one level, it is a system failure because the system is failing your kids. On another level, it's exactly how the system is designed to work. The system is designed to fail your children. That's what it's made for. That's how it functions. The school district is functioning properly the way it was designed to function when it's undermining your children. Mickey Knox asks a great question. Is there legal recourse to this? Yes, there is. I'm glad you asked, Mickey. That's where my company comes in, Breakthrough Advocacy Services. When these children, you can hire an advocate. I'm an advocate, but there are advocates all across the country, in every city. You have people that can advocate for you if you don't have time. Or you also have law firms that do just education. And if your child is constantly facing harassment and not getting the grades that they should be getting, you can sue the school district. I've sued the school district and I've won. I've never lost suing the school district. I'm not a lawyer. Being an advocate, I've always worked in partnership with lawyers, but I've literally never lost a case against the school district. If there's something that happened violently, yeah, you can get monetary gains, but when you sue the school district, usually what you win is additional supports. So your child is behind in school 2 years in a row. They're failing English, math, science, whatever. They're getting D's. Did you know it is the school district's responsibility to catch your child up to grade level? So if the school sees your child as failing and they did not offer you any supports to help your child catch up to grade level, that school is liable. And I'm speaking, I'm not a lawyer. Full disclosure, disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. But that school, that child is failing and the school's not doing anything about it, you can then hire a lawyer to file a case against the district. And what'll happen is, but before that, you want to talk to an advocate. Most of the time, you don't need to go that far to a lawyer, because once you bring the shit up to them, they switch it out. And if you know what to tell them, they'll give you everything you want up front, because they don't want that legal paperwork getting filed on them. So, and another thing, here's something else for people out there. Free game. I'm giving this to you for free. If your child has an IEP, they can't be suspended or expelled for violating an issue that was already addressed in the IEP. So what do? So at the same time, black children with IEPs and special education are, according to this article, suspended at more than double of anybody else. Well, how can they suspend all these black children with special education if they're not supposed to do it? Well, this is how. In the IEP, they'll put the kid in there, like I said before, with the other health impairments. But some of the things, just say that kid has an issue with walking out of class. Well, if that's the issue, that means in the IEP, there should be something in the notes addressing walking out of class and with goals. Devontae walks out of class 3 times a day. The goal is to minimize Deontay's walking out of class, and by next IEP, lower it to Devontae walking out of class 1 time a day. But that's how it's supposed to happen. But this is that's how it's supposed to happen in theory. This is how it happens in function. These schools that target these children, they know they can't suspend or expel if they do something that is addressing the IEP that they're supposed to be helping. So that critical thing, they just won't put that in the IEP. We all know that one thing is a problem. And we will talk about it in the IEP meeting, but they won't put it in the documentation. If you pay attention, they try not. And if they think you're not paying attention, they're not going to put that in the documentation. So when Devontae walks out of class next week and gets suspended, parents like, I thought we settled this. I thought this was why we had the IEP. Why is he still getting suspended? Oh yeah, because in the IEP it says he needs to do this, this, and that. Oh yeah, because they forgot, quote unquote, to address the issue that they knew. So they be setting these kids up, man. They really do set these kids up for failure. If your child does have an IEP, special education, make sure whatever issues that they say he has, that a solution with goals is addressed in that IEP. Because if it's not addressed as a solution with goals, then they can continue to suspend and expel your child. But if it's in there and your child does that, they can't suspend them because it's on them to cover the resources it takes necessary to fix that issue. So you do have recourse when it comes to all this stuff. What else y'all talking about in here? Yes, Star, you can amend an IEP. IEPs are 1-year contracts. But if there's an issue with the IEP before that year is out, you can call for an emergency IEP. How do you do that? Make sure that you write a letter asking for an IEP, emergency IEP. The school has 30 days to respond and set a date for that IEP. Write the letter, mail it to the school, but also email it. Usually the assistant principal is the one that takes care of the IEPs. Mail it and email it. That way you have a timestamp. And if you mail it certified so there's a timestamp. That way they have 30 days to respond with a date for the IEP. You can get 2 months into IEP and be like, nah, this shit ain't. Put it off the internet. What the fuck? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I see y'all. Yeah, the stream was out for me. I think I'm back up. Yeah, we back. Yeah, this shit just right when I got in talk. Where did I leave off? I was talking to Star about amending the IEP. I don't know where it stopped me. But anyway, cool. Yeah, so you can amend the IEP. Write a letter to the school, and there's nothing they'll do in black schools here in South Central. They'll have one assistant principal work 3 different schools. on one hand. The other hand, the highest concentration of children with special in special needs classes or in need of an IEP are the black students. But the IEPs are generally done and coordinated by the assistant principal. So how can your children get accurate and get these resources done and things done in a timely manner if the person responsible for this only comes to work once a week at that school? So yeah, I know here in LA, the assistant principal is generally the one that controls that. So get a relationship with the assistant principal at your school and the special education coordinator. It says, so I stopped at 2 months later, the IEP not work. Yeah, if your child has an IEP and 2 or 3 months into it, it's just not working out, you can amend the IEP. You can call for an emergency meeting. Hey, we just had an IEP and my child is still going through ABC. What the fuck? Well, don't say the what the fuck part. Be professional. Yeah. How can we change the textbooks in the schools? What you can do is you can get together with parents and you can demand which books that you want to be part of the curriculum. Get that right there happens down at the school district. Go to the meetings when they're talking about your new superintendents. You got to be a part of that system. Superintendents have meetings all the time. The school districts, they have public meetings and public things all the time. You got to get together with other parents and you have to demand these books be part of the school curriculum. That's what you have to do. Personally, my point of view is the school system is done. There's a silver lining around every cloud. The cloud is this coronavirus and these children having to work from home. Go to school from home. The silver lining is these children aren't in these fucking schools. So there's a way to, there are a lot of homeschooling networks out there. If there's a way to spend more time educating your child and less time for your child at school, take advantage. Make it happen. If there's I don't understand, some people have jobs where you literally can't do it. I get that. But if you have the type schedule that can make it possible to where your child spends more time at home getting education, that's a good thing. There's Gifted and Lit. There are all kinds of programs that can supplement and actually teach a child better than these sorry ass teachers are at school. Bug Shelton, I do not have the mineral belt business info up yet because that website's not up. But when the mineral stuff is going to be coming out more towards as the summer gets along. I'll have more information for you when it comes to that. But yeah, our children are targeted by the school system, and if you're going to have your child into the school system, these are the tips and tricks and advice that I'm giving you advice that can help your child navigate through those woes. Well, my personal preference is if you can at all teach your children from home, take that route. Because in my opinion, the school system is done. The school system is designed to screw over your child. If they didn't screw over your child, count that as a blessing. But for the other 90% of you, that's what it's set up to do. That's a good one. Guru said, I educate myself with my children until this day. That's what's up. Yeah, when it comes to education is never done anyway. You're never done educating yourself. Never. Never done educating yourself. So this is something parents and children can do together. There are a lot of good homeschooling networks. I remember there's a program that I did with Dr. Bondelay back in November. She has some network of homeschools. Go back and check that episode out. She talked about some of them. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but she did mention different homeschooling networks around the country. Just look up the video I did with Dr. Bondele. Bondele with a B. B as in boy. Bondele. B-A-N-D, whatever. I can't spell the rest of that shit. But it was an interview I did like back in like November, sometime around there. She gave a lot of good information on the homeschooling system. What else y'all talking about? Oh, you know, also, man, and I want to thank everybody again. I want to thank everybody again who has a ticket to my upcoming webinar, No Time to Waste, on my new book coming out, a self-motivation guidebook. Like I said, in this class, I'm going to teach you, and you can also, once you learn it, you can teach this to your children, because the method that I'm going to give you on how to find the gifts within you and use those gifts that are already inside of you, how to monetize those and use that as primary motivation to get off your ass today. This is a method that I use for myself, but I've been teaching this method to children as young as the age of 6 and 7. Just to get a deeper insight into the things that you know that you love to do, things that are easy for you, things that are fun. Your passions and things like that rely in that. How do you get that out of, how do you get that from inside of you out of you? Well, I'm going to teach that in my self-motivation workshop. It is in my link tree. The Eventbrite ticket link is in my description box, in the link tree. Also get your incense and ashtrays. I got my playlist. People are always talking about, you know, my music. I got this up still. Y'all see incense and ashtrays? Y'all see? Go to the link is in the link tree. I got a playlist. My funk soul playlist, funk and soul music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s for people who forgot that era and want to know where the real music come from. I put together a playlist. My soul jazz playlist is coming next. More contemporary stuff. But go to those playlists and listen to the music. That real music, that good old school shit. And I'm constantly updating that list. So what's on the mix today may not be on the mix tomorrow. It's constantly being updated so you can listen for your pleasure. Also, I got my interview with Bobby Rush, J-Mo, and I got some more music interviews coming up. Yeah, you know, I do a lot of shit. And I say, if you want to book me for questions, then go to my Instagram and go to the slot, drop the deposit, and then we can holla. If you got questions want more detailed, specific questions about the IEP process, just 20 minutes. It's about all it's gonna take for me to explain a lot of this stuff to you. Go to the book now button on my Instagram. It will be up on my website when my website is up next week. But my website is still in the last stages of getting worked on. It looks beautiful. So in the meantime, go to my Instagram to book my time. Let's see here. What else y'all talking about here in the chat room? I say you met with Kendall and had a session. Yeah, Kendall's bomb. Dope shit. I'm glad you met with Kendall. Go to my episode with Kendall, the hypnotherapist. She is dope. And also go to my interview with King Simon. Get a reading. King Simon, that numerology is the shit. I appreciate that new site. Let's see, what else y'all talking about? Yeah, but King Simon and Kendall, those are, I'm so glad I was able to interview those two and able to put them out there to help you guys out, because here at Hotepish, we all about help. We take every angle to help ourselves. There's no one way to do things. We approach things on a physical level. We approach things on a mental level. We approach things on a spiritual level. Because we're all three. We're physical, we're here. We have a mind, we get in our head. We do have a brain, we do need to use it. And we also have a spiritual connection. And we also have a connection to our environment and the earth around us. And I'm all about at least introducing these tools. Some tools may work for you better than others. Some tools ain't gonna work at all. Other tools may be perfect, I don't know. But here, the value of this channel is bringing you the tools. And then you picking the tools up and deciding how you're going to use them. That's what we here for. Let's see here. What y'all talking about? I'm about to, oh yeah, get your t-shirts too. Get your t-shirts. I'm gonna be design. I've been kind of lagging. I'm about to design some new t-shirts. I got some incense and ashtrays t-shirts I'm putting together right now. But I've been so busy building other stuff in my company, I haven't had time to design new t-shirts. But my t-shirts usually come to me in my dreams anyway. I haven't had any dreams about t-shirts lately. My t-shirts usually come in the dream. And I wake up and I design them. And they usually like all these, everything that you see here came to me, like the quote I'm gonna use or the picture I use. I kind of just see it in my head. And I go right to it and I get it. And I capture it from the ethers and bring it down to earth. But I will be getting some new t-shirts. But in the meantime, if you don't have your Scholars t-shirt, your John Henry Clark t-shirt, your Martin Luther King t-shirt, or your Hotepish t-shirt, go to hotepish.com/apparel to get yours now. Papa said, I recommend the Hotepish hoodie. Hell yeah, that Hotepish hoodie is comfortable as hell. That Hotepish hoodie is very comfortable. Yeah, so what else y'all talking about? I'm about to get up out of here before YouTube do some more bullshit and kick my black ass off again, like it did a few minutes ago. Yeah, but remember this, black people, we are our own solution. Talking about the problems isn't complaining. It's strategy. It's talking about them and then doing something to fix it. Here I'm helping you with doing what to do and what to say on how to fix the problems. Because fixing the problem isn't one person up top just running his mouth and us having some big old we need to come together meeting. No. Fixing the problem is taking what you hear and applying it as a solution on whatever level you're on and need it at. You dig? Mickey said I'm coming out with a set of steak knives later. That's funny. That's funny. I do got a lot of shit, a lot of business. Oh, yeah. See, I be so busy as hell. I be forgetting all the things that I do. My live drum sample packs are live. It's on my link tree in the Mix Studios. My first edition of my live drum sample packs are up. And if you type in the discount code FUNK1, you will get 20% off of my first sample packs. 20% off. That's how I'm gonna know anyone who typed in that FUNK1 for my sample pack, I'm gonna know you listen to the show, because I ain't tell nobody this shit at the beginning of the show. I'm saying it way deep in. So if you still listening now, you deserve that 20% off my live drum sample packs. If you are a producer looking for that live drum sounds, one shots, fills, and grooves, my first edition is out now. My second edition will be out in a couple weeks, and I will be in the studio 2 weeks, well, basically in 9 days, 11 days, 28. I'll be in the studio laying down my third edition. Yeah, I'm busy as hell. I am. Let me see. Any other questions? Remember, we are our own solution. My name is Dwan B. Remember this. There are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up game. My name is Dwan B. I'm out.